All right, team, we have the Galaxy Z Fold 3 in the house, and just quietly, I've been super excited to check this device out ever since the announcement from Samsung a few weeks ago. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Isn't it pronounced Z Fold 3? Well, yes, in parts of the world it is, but here in Australia, we pronounce it Z, so we'll press on with that for the remainder of this video. Now, back in March of this year, I did an in-depth 6-month later review of the previous iteration of this device, the Fold 2. And whilst I had lots of good things to say about that device, there were a couple of areas that I thought could be improved. And when I saw all the changes that were brought about with this new version, I thought, by golly, Samsung may have actually listened. But I'm getting ahead of myself, so let's rewind a little bit back to just after the phone was delivered and unbox the thing. Oh, and a huge shout out to Optus for sponsoring this video. We'll chat a bit more about them a little later on, but with that out of the way, let's get unboxing. Okay, so the box itself has this pretty nice two-toned finish, which I quite like. But once we open the box up, straight away we are greeted with the Fold 3 in its open state. We'll move that to one side for a moment, and from there we also get a little envelope which, when opened, reveals some documentation, a SIM ejector tool, and a USB-C charging cable. And that is it. Nothing too surprising. All right, let's get all that plasticky goodness off the device. And with that, the Fold 3 is unboxed and ready for action. Now, to be clear, this video is just an unboxing and first impressions video, but I will be working on an in-depth review that will come to the channel in the next month or two, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out when that goes live. But let's take a quick look at version 3 of this new foldable device from Samsung and see how it differs from the Fold 2. So there's a few key upgrades that have been made to the Z Fold 3 that I want to point out in particular, the first of which is this cover display. For reference, the cover display on last year's Fold 2 was 60 Hz, but because the main display was that big, beautiful, buttery smooth 120 Hz panel, it actually resulted in quite a jarring contrast anytime you switched back to using the cover display. And so with the Fold 3, the cover display is now 120 Hz as well, which is fantastic. Now, another really promising upgrade that I think will significantly improve the experience of using this phone is app continuity. I actually found it a little bit tricky to predict what was going to happen to my apps when I opened or closed the Fold 2, but now with the Fold 3, this has been improved further to make the experience just that little bit more seamless. Excellent. As well as that, back in my review of the Fold 2, I did mention that some apps didn't fill up the main display completely, but Samsung has addressed this by adding in a new setting that we can adjust called Customize App Aspect Ratios. You can find this under the Labs section, and we can use this function to essentially adjust any apps that have yet to be optimized for the size of the main display to fill it completely. Just keep in mind, this is a new feature, so it won't work for every app yet. Okay, from there we have the cameras, and on paper, it looks as though they are the same cameras that we had on last year's Fold 2, but even with that being the case, I'd say they still hold up here in 2021. Obviously, I'll need to spend more time using the cameras over the next little while to really form a solid opinion on them, but for this video, I thought it could be fun to do a very quick camera test whilst I thank today's video sponsor, Optus. And to kick things off, we're starting with the cover screen selfie camera. So if you've been liking the sound of the Galaxy Z Fold 3 and you want to get your hands on one yourself, then a great way to do so is with Optus. Okay, now over to the main camera. And the best part is that with Optus Pay, you can pick it up on one of their great value plans and pay it off over a 12, 24, or even 36-month period, completely interest-free. Plus, you get to enjoy loads of data and Optus's best network ever. And finally, the ultra-wide lens. Optus phone plans come with high-speed 5G access and a 5G price match guarantee. So if you see a better upfront price of the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 3 in Australia, they'll match it. All right, let's get out of the rain, head back to the studio to wrap this up. So again, if you've been thinking about picking up the Fold 3 or really any new device, then check out the first link down in the description and sign up to a new plan with Optus today. All right, but moving on from the cameras, and the last thing that I want to make mention of in this video is the design. It's not a radical change over the Fold 2, but it just feels even more refined. It's actually ever so slightly thinner and lighter compared to the Fold 2, which is always nice. And it now even has an IPX8 water resistance rating, which is super impressive. I also love this satin finish on the back of the phone. It feels amazing in the hand, and I kind of wish all manufacturers would adopt this exact finish on their own phones. Now, there are plenty of other features that I haven't touched on in this video, including the battery life and this under display camera on the main display, but I'll leave comments on these plus everything else for the full review after I've had a bit more time to really put it to the test. And so aside from that, let me know down in the comments below what you want to see addressed in the full review. But that's it. Thank you all very much for watching. Thank you to Optus for supporting the channel, and I will catch you later.